11 African leaders that were assassinated by world powers. 1. Patrice Lumumba, DR Congo, 1961. Patrice Lumumba was announced Prime Minister in June 1961 at the age of 34. He enjoyed a tumultuous tenure plagued by the Congo crisis, which comprised of mutiny in the army, secession of important mineral-rich regions Katanga and South Kasai with Belgian support, rebellion in some parts of the country, and inter-ethnic fights. After failing to get the support of the US and the UN in fighting the secession, Lumumba turned to the Soviets' cardinal sin in the era of the Cold War. This led to division within his own government and his subsequent deposition by Army Chief Joseph Mobutu, aka Mobutu Sese Seko. Patrice Emery Lumumba was executed by firing squad on January 17, 1961. According to Wikipedia, his body was dug up and dissolved in sulfuric acid, while the bones were ground and scattered. 2. Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Nigeria, 1966. Balewa had a tumultuous reign as Prime Minister, with regional factionalism, especially from the Wild West, electoral violence, and political and ethnic unrest giving his government a hard time. When on January 15, 1966, a group of officers struck against the political class assassinating prominent politicians, Sir Balewa was top of the hit list. The exact manner of his death remains uncertain. What is certain, however, is that he was abducted from his official residence on January 15, 1966, and was missing for days. Many historical accounts hold that his body was found days later on the outskirts of Lagos, bullet-ridden and at an advanced stage of decomposition. His remains was laid to rest in Bauchi. 3. Mary Noabi, Republic of Congo, 1977. As head of the National Revolutionary Council, Mary Noabi came to power when his party became the country's supreme authority in December 1968. He established the continent's first Marxist-Leninist state and founded the Congolese Workers' Party as the sole legal political party. In March 1977, he was assassinated in a suicide mission, and an interim government was established headed by conservative Colonel Joachim Yombio Pengo. 4. Muhammad Anwar al-Sadat, Egypt, 1981. Sadat was a man of oratory, charm, style, and swagger with a knack for risk-taking even with the possibilities of potential political cost. Muhammad Anwar al-Sadat was assassinated at a military parade in 1981 by a group of officers who were discontent about the peace deal with Israel, the worsening economy, and the imprisonment of opposition figures, among other things. 5. Samuel Doe, Liberia, 1990. Doe became the 21st president of Liberia in 1980, serving as the first indigenous head of state in the country's history. In 1989, the Liberian Civil War broke out after rebels, led by former ally Charles Taylor, entered the country through Côte d'Ivoire and captured Doe in a guerrilla war. Doe was seized by faction leader Prince Y. Johnson after a bloody gun battle at the Economic Community of West African States Monitoring Group's peacekeeping headquarters in Monrovia. Doe was tortured before being executed. Taylor assumed the presidency and held on to power until 2003. 6. Cyprien Taryamira, Burundi, 1994. President Cyprien served as president of Burundi from February 5, 1994 until his death. The assassination of Cyprien happened on April 6, 1994, when he was just 39 years old. Unfortunately, the tenure of Cyprien was marred with tension. He was chosen to bring calmness. However, he only occupied the office for just 6 months. President Cyprien died after his plane was shot down while landing in Kigali, Rwanda. He was with a friend, the president of Rwanda, Juvenal Habyarimana. 7. Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara, Burkina Faso, 1987. Thomas Sankara seized power in a popular coup in 1983 in an attempt to break the country's ties to its French colonial power. He gave the country its new name Burkina Faso, formerly Upper Volta. Sankara had an ambitious agenda to eliminate corruption and encourage economic and social progress. But this resulted in an increasingly authoritarian approach to power. Though he remained an icon to the poor, his policies aggravated the middle class, as well as traditional tribal leaders. He was overthrown and assassinated in a coup led by the French-backed Blaise Compaoré in October 1987. 8. Laurent Kabila, Democratic Republic of Congo, 2001. Laurent Kabila took power in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1997 after overthrowing Mobutu Sese Seko and served for 4 years before being shot in January 2001 by one of his bodyguards. According to some DRC officials, the assassination was masterminded by Rwanda, though 11 Lebanese nationals were executed shortly after the event. Kabila's party managed to retain power, and Laurent's son, Joseph Kabila, succeeded his father 8 days later. 9. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya, 2011. Muammar Gaddafi was the president of Libya. Like several African leaders in the 1960s, Gaddafi took power in a coup from the monarchy of King Idris. In 2011, an anti-Gaddafi uprising emerged, resulting in a civil war. Eventually, the US and rebels brought down the Gaddafi government. He had once worked closely with the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. 10. Sylvanus Epifanio Olympio, Togo, 1963. From 1958 until his assassination, Sylvanus Epifanio Olympio was a Togolese politician. He also served as prime minister and later as the president of Togo. The French government treated Olympio with a lot of hostility during the transition to independence. They were concerned that Olympio would dump them and advocate for British interests after independence. Olympio was assassinated by the French military in Lome, Togo, on January 3, 1963 Togolese coup d'état. The body of Olympio was discovered 3 feet from the door to the US Embassy by US Ambassador Leon B. Poulada. The assassination of Olympio was through military coup, being the first of its kind in African. 11. Juvenal Habyarimana, Rwanda, 1994. President Juvenal, nicknamed Invincible, was Rwanda's second president. The assassination of Juvenal carried on April 6, 1994. He was just 57 years old and described as tyrant. This could be as a result of his several unopposed rigged elections. Eventually, President Juvenal was shot down by a missile. He was in company of the president of Burundi, Cyprien Ntaryamira. The incident happened was near Kigali, Rwanda. The assassination of President Juvenal sparked ethnic tensions in the region and contributed to the genocide in Rwanda. It is the worst in the history of Rwanda, and France was rumored to be complacency in the genocide. What do you think?